name is Amber Trask, and I lead the community and education teams here at OpenMined. Today, we're going to dive into the details of how to get involved in OpenMined, no matter your location, background, or skill set. There's a place for everyone in our community, and I'm really excited to help you find yours. I'm going to start this session off with a brief presentation on who we are and how to get started within OpenMined, and then we'll hear 5-minute lightning presentations from many of our team leads about their specific teams, projects, and topics, and how to get involved in each team. This first presentation is loosely based on our welcome package, which is the best place to get started in our community. I've linked to the welcome package here, and it's also pinned to the top of our GitHub, so feel free to refer back to it later. Let's get started. First, I just want to kind of introduce you to who we are. One thing that's important to understand before we dive in is OpenMind's mission to align and incentivize all institutions to only serve the best interests of humanity. This means that we want to help you by both making your products and research better and protecting everyone's privacy along the way. At OpenMined, we strive to prove false the fallacy that in order for society to progress, we must sacrifice individual privacy. It's just not true. And we're here to create the world in which research, product, and personal privacy work hand in hand by educating anyone who wants to learn on how privacy-preserving tech can work for them and the world. As the community lead at OpenMined, it's my mission to cultivate a community for acquiring the skills necessary for anyone to be able to fulfill their personal goals in privacy-enhancing technology. That means that here at OpenMined, not only do we want to create the technology that keeps you private, but we also want to create a community where no matter your location or means, skill set or speciality, we can help you show up and become informed enough to select a valuable goal for yourself, receive tools along the way to help you achieve the next step, and reach a place where privacy-enhancing technology is sustainable for you full-time, inside or outside of OpenMined, no matter which industry you're in, whether it's development, legal, marketing, or any other field. We're here to make this happen for you because we want to start a revolution of privacy experts advancing on the world to make it a better place for all of us. OpenMined is a global community of people who are passionate about privacy and are working to make the world more privacy-preserving by volunteering their time to our open source project. Check out our GitHub, linked here, to see what our community is working on. Here's a map showing the locations of our various team leads all over the world, and this just scratches the surface of how distributed and diverse our community really is. These team leads are people who specialize in topics ranging from natural language processing to design, cryptography to social media, federated learning to event planning, and much, much more. We'll hear from some of these folks later on in our lightning presentations, but in the meantime, let's briefly look at how our teams work. OpenMined is comprised of various teams, including the community, development, and research teams you see listed here. Check out the welcome package in our GitHub linked here for more specific details on each team. Before we dive into the best places to start contributing, we're going to start off by discussing the best ways to join the community. First things first, if you haven't joined our Slack organization, the link is just slack.openmind.org. If you're not familiar with Slack, it's just a chat app like AIM or MSN Messenger in the old days, and it's where most of our community and teams communicate and stay up to date with each other. This is absolutely the lifeblood of the OpenMined community, and it's thriving with over 8,800 members, so it's definitely the best place to get started. When you join the Slack organization, you will be automatically added to the starter channels that you see here. These names are fairly self-explanatory, but just a quick note that getting started is the best place to explore first. And if you click on the pinned posts in that channel, there's a ton of info to help you get started. There are many other channels for various topics, communities, libraries, educational resources, and locations, so feel free to explore the community by searching for some of the prefixes listed here. Also note that if you do want to get involved in our codebase, the best places to ask questions as you go are topic beginner questions and the library-specific channel for the code you're working on. The next best place to join our community would be with OpenMined Education. OpenMined Education is made up of our mentorship team and our learning team, and they're both here to help you set and reach your goals. The OpenMined community has put together a ton of resources to help you learn, but it's clear to us that not everyone learns in the same way. The mentorship team is here to give you one-on-one guidance as you decide on your goals and learn whatever it is that you need to achieve them. To join our mentorship program, just visit mentorship.openmind.org and fill out the form to receive guidance from one of OpenMind's mentors. Once you've filled out the form, you can also join the Slack channel, EDU Mentorship, where all of our mentors and mentees gather to get to know each other and ask questions. If you learn better in groups, that's what the learning team is here for. OpenMind's learning team puts together boot camps, study groups, and other learning initiatives of various sizes so that you can work together with other learners as well as seasoned members of the OpenMind community. To stay up to date on upcoming learning initiatives, just join the Slack channel EDU Learners. And if you're curious how past boot camps have gone, check out the boot camps repo in OpenMind's GitHub linked here. If, however, you prefer to dive right in and get to work on your own, the best place to get started is our welcome package. We're going to jump over and take a look at that now, as the welcome package includes links to introductory videos from our leader Andrew Trask, information about our free Secure and Private AI Udacity course, as well as links to all of OpenMind's library's tutorials, their good first issues, and tons of other great info. Let's hop over there now and check it out. This is OpenMind's welcome package. This is pinned to the top of OpenMind's GitHub, but the link is just here at the top for future reference. As you can see from the table of contents, we've already touched on some of the information you see here. So we're going to skip straight to the learning section where you can find the best resources to get started learning about OpenMind on your own. As I mentioned before, here we have a couple of introductory videos giving you a brief overview of what OpenMind does, and then there's information about our free Secure and Private AI Udacity course. This gives you the option for a quick overview of what OpenMind does or a deep dive. Next, we have links to our tutorials and good first issues for some of our bigger projects. If you'd like to jump straight into the code, this is the best place to get started. The tutorials you see here will teach you how to use each library, and the good first issues are the best place to try your hand and start contributing. The tutorials and good first issues are the best places to get started if you're interested in development, but there are a ton of teams within OpenMind, development and otherwise. So the next section in the welcome package includes the links for more information on all OpenMind teams. Once you know a bit about who we are, you may be ready to join a team based on your current skill set. We're going to check out the more detailed information about our teams momentarily, but before we dive in, I just wanted to show you placements.openmind.org. This placements page is where OpenMind's teams advertise for their volunteer positions. As you can see, many of our teams are looking for members, so this is a great place to check and see what might be the best fit for you. All of the placements here are volunteer positions, unless noted otherwise. However, contributing team members are shortlisted for grant funding when it becomes available. So join a team first, and it's possible funding may be an option later. We'll hop back over to the welcome package now just to briefly show you the detailed team information, starting with our development teams. Here on the development teams page, we have a diagram showing which team does what, and then detailed information for each dev team, including links to the team's roadmap, good first issues to get started contributing to that team, and the requirements and link to apply to join the team. And if you scroll through, you'll find this information for each of our dev teams. This team information is constantly evolving, so keep checking the welcome package if you want to know more about the current state of OpenMind's teams. If you check out the community teams page, it serves largely the same function. Information about what each team does and the requirements and links to apply to join. And lastly, the research teams page, which goes over the research scientist and research engineer roles and how to join OpenMind research. So, if you're passionate about privacy, we want to help you meet your goals, and I hope that so far I've been able to give you a taste of the variety of places that you can fit into our community. Here are a few more links to places to help you stay up to date with what's going on in OpenMind, and don't forget to join our Slack at slack.openmind.org, and check out placements.openmind.org for opportunities to join one of our many teams. That wraps up my first presentation. Once again, my name is Amber, and please feel free to reach out to me anytime on Slack at 4MBER or email at amber@openmind.org. So now let's dive in and hear more from our team leads. This diagram illustrates how all of OpenMind's teams work together, and it's also found on the first page of the welcome package. We'll be coming back to this diagram as we hear from our team leads now, so I wanted to go ahead and introduce it to you to help you follow along. As you can see, many of our teams have sub-teams, which focus on more specific areas within their topic. The team leads are listed on this diagram, so feel free to reach out to any of them on Slack if you have questions about their team or topic. We're going to start our team presentations with some of our community teams. First up, we have Saurav Das, who leads our mentorship team. As you can see here, the mentorship team is an educational team with two sub-teams, community and technical mentors. Saurav is joining us from Assam, India. Take it away, Saurav.
Hello everyone, my name is Saurabh. I lead the mentorship team at OpenMined. Hope you all are enjoying the privacy conference and learning a lot about privacy preserving AI. Alright, I'm going to share my screen. So today I'll be talking about the OpenMined mentorship team and the mentorship program, how we can apply for it, why should I apply for the mentorship program. I'll also share a few tips to graduate from the mentorship program, how you can join the team and joining the awesome community. So yeah, let's get started. OpenMined mentorship team is part of OpenMined education. We provide one-on-one mentorship in the community. We have 20 awesome mentors in our team, and we have mentored over 1,000 plus community members from all over the world. Mentors guides you to get started contributing to OpenMined. They guides you to your learning process, navigating the community, or joining the development, research, or community teams, and to become an awesome active member of the community. Here are the awesome mentors of the OpenMined mentorship team. They are super awesome. Applying mentorship is pretty easy. You just have to fill out the form visiting mentorship.openmind.org. Then you'll be assigned to an awesome OpenMined mentor, and he will guide you to get started. Well, why should you apply for the mentorship? Yeah, so if you are new to OpenMined and you don't know where to get started, you're confused about it, you want to learn privacy preserving AI, you are very new to OpenMined and you want to contribute to open source, and yeah, mentors are there to guide you. You want to join OpenMined teams and get involved in the community, or you want to learn about OpenMined projects, codeways, or you want to prepare for a team host a meetup, or anything else. Mentors are there. Mentors are the best people to guide you to get started and help you. So anyone can apply for the mentorship program. We are looking forward to everyone who apply for the mentorship to graduate from the mentorship program. Here are a few tips from me to graduate from the mentorship program. First of all, set a goal. First, your mentor will guide you for that. Have a conversation about your goals with your mentor. Stay in touch with your mentor. Feel free to ask a question in the community. Manage your time well and be consistent in your learning process and active in the community. Yeah, so do not give up. You got these mentors are there to help you, so don't worry. We are recruiting new mentors. If you wish to be an OpenMined mentor and lead the community members, fill out this form or message me in Slack. To be a part of the awesome community, it's very easy to join the Slack. We have over 8,800 members from all over the world. It's a very diverse and friendly community, so you can join the OpenMined community by going to openmind.slack.com. Yeah, so feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. You can find me in Slack at Saurabh. I'm also pretty active in Twitter. You can also contact me there as well at the rate Adventures SRV. So yeah, thank you, and keep making the world more privacy preserving.
Thanks, Saurav. That's awesome. Next, we'll be hearing from Yemi Kafuli, who leads our learning team, the other team that makes up OpenMined Education. As you can see here, our learning team consists of 3 subteams focusing on the various tasks that make up a learning team initiative. Yemi is joining us from Cotonou, Benin, Africa. Yemi?
Hello. Welcome to this presentation of the OpenMined Learning Team. I am Yami Kifuli, the person doing the presentation. I became interested in private AI a couple of years or so ago, and I joined OpenMined in 2019 and became a mentor, and I am now the lead of the learning team. And it's in that capacity that I'm here today doing this presentation of my team. The presentation is divided in 5 parts: who we are, what we do as a team, our beta bootcamp, what you should do if you want to learn with us, and how you can join the team. So, who we are. Well, the learning team is an open-mind education team, which means that our activities are geared towards teaching private AI and everything that OpenMined does. We are a group of volunteers, more than 50 volunteers with different skill sets and very different backgrounds, but we all share a passion for privacy preserving machine learning and the OpenMined mission, and we are all very eager to spread the message of private AI. What we do, well, generally speaking, our mission is to empower the advancement and adoption of privacy enhancing technologies by offering a high quality but low barrier to entry learning experience. And the way we achieve that is by organizing bootcamps. Our bootcamps are entirely online and completely free. They're short in duration, only a few weeks. And the topics go all the way from deep learning to privacy preserving machine learning and the open mind projects and software such as PySift and PyGrid. Our bootcamps are open to beginners, meaning people who are new to data science, and seasoned AI practitioners. So basically, we have bootcamps that are for people who are new to data science. So such bootcamps will be focused on introducing data science, introducing deep learning, and so on. And then we have other bootcamps that are to introduce privacy preserving machine learning or the more advanced AI topics. So we have several bootcamps to make sure that we are catering to a large group of people with different level and different background. During the bootcamp, we create engagement activities to keep participants on track and to help them network with other participants. And one of our biggest goal, in fact, is to help people take what they learn and use it in real life. And we help them do that by giving them the opportunity after the bootcamp, after the teaching part of the bootcamp, we give them the opportunity to work on a project that they can then present when the bootcamp is closing up. So that's what we do, and that's our goal. Our beta bootcamp. We just finished our beta bootcamp, which was our introductory bootcamp, our very first bootcamp ever. We had 15 participants, from July 24th to September 12th, 2020, and covered the notebooks 1 to 8 of the PySift tutorials. You can find those tutorials in the OpenMined GitHub repo, in one of the repos. The summary of the bootcamp: we had 3 people contribute to the OpenMined repos. We had 1 person write an article. We have more people who are currently working on projects still. They didn't get to finish them before the bootcamp closed. And when we have 15 more people in the world who know more and can do more with private AI, so that's good news. We are now working towards launching our very first regular bootcamp that will have a much larger cohort size, and the launch date will probably be in late October or early November 2020. What can you do if you want to learn with us? Well, the best way to learn with us is right now to keep up with the Edu Learners channel. It's in the OpenMined Slack workspace. You can join the channel and keep up with the announcements on that channel. Keep up with the announcements on the OpenMined social media platforms as well, because when the bootcamp will launch and the sign-up sheet will be shared for people to sign up for it. That's how we will announce it. So yeah, Right now, if you want to learn, the best way is to keep up with those platforms so that you get notified once we are ready to launch the bootcamp. If you want to contribute, well, if you want to contribute, we are really, really, really excited to have you in our team. We have roles for in for all people. Zero technical knowledge, some technical knowledge, lots of technical knowledge, because we have several sub teams in the learning team, and we have one for everyone. So if you're interested, if you're enthusiastic, if you want to help, you can use the form to apply. You can also find the form in the Edu Learners channel at the top, as is shown here on the screenshot there. And there it is. We will be really happy to have you in our team. That's about it for the presentation. I hope this helped you learn a little more about the learning team. Thank you for hanging out with me, and see you in Slack.
Nice. Thanks, Yemi. Next, we'll be hearing from Helena Barmer, who is currently leading our events team, which handles online meetups, paper sessions, helping the learning team with webinars, and planning many other OpenMined events. Helena is joining us from Malmo, Sweden. Helena?
Hi, my name is Helena Bormer, and I am part of the online events team at OpenMined, currently leading it. The online events team are helping with hosting, planning, and moderating online events throughout the community, which is very fun. You get to meet a lot of people, you get to help them to get a flow within your online events. At the moment, we're actually looking for someone to help leading the team. And if you have any experience with event planning, if you love organizing and meeting new people, you should definitely head over to placements.openmind.org to check it out. I hope to see all of you throughout this weekend, and I hope that I already met you maybe in one of the talks, and just have a really good time, enjoy the conference, and have a really good day. See you all.
Thanks, Helena. Next, we'll be hearing from Bennett Farkas, who leads our brand and marketing team. As you can see here, the brand and marketing team consists of our writing, design, and social media teams, some of which you'll hear from next. Bennett is joining us from Nashville, Tennessee. Take it away, Bennett.
Hey, everybody. As Amber mentioned, I'm Bennett Farkas. I lead the brand and marketing team here at OpenMined. I am based out of Nashville, Tennessee, and I've been contributing in some capacity to the OpenMined community since early 2017, I think. In my day job, I work as VP of Creative at a marketing firm called Golden Spiral here in Nashville that works with business-to-business technology companies, kind of bringing their stories to life for the market. Some of you might be directly familiar with my work within the OpenMined community. I was the design lead for the OpenMined logo that we're using today, as well as the person responsible for leading the creation of the OpenMined brand aesthetic in general, the fonts, colors, etc., as well as the logos for Grid, Sift, Opus, Ciphertext, 3PO, as well as the forthcoming logos for Premia, Duet, and Sift 3.0. With obviously so much collaboration from the super talented people we have here in the community. Right now, the brand and marketing team is comprised of 3 different team leads, as well as some kind of individual specialists. The 3 main team leads in this team are Emma, who heads up the writing team, and Madeline, who heads up the social media team. Both of them will give more specific information about their respective teams at some point in this same kind of presentation. And then also Kyoko, who's the newly appointed design team lead. So those are kind of the 3 team leads that are a part of this team, as well as Amel, who many of you are likely familiar with, but she facilitates and coordinates the OpenMined AMAs, and Josiah, who is working on developing some marketing analytics and insights for our marketing team. Our team will likely evolve over the next year. Nothing set in stone yet, but well, it will almost certainly definitely evolve, as everything in OpenMined does. But we will likely look to incorporate a website team and corresponding lead, a PR team and corresponding lead, as well as kind of a more filled out insights and analytics function and team to this group. On a high level, this team works to package and communicate what OpenMined is and does. As you can imagine, that's a fairly significant challenge, but we're making a lot of really good progress. We've made a lot of great progress specifically over the last 6 months. Our big projects over that time have been working to help form and communicate our core mission, vision, and values as a community. We've been working on the strategy and design for the OpenMined website 2.0, which is super fun and exciting. A lot of good progress being made there. Working on clarifying and supporting the OpenMined brand structure. What's a product, what's a team, what gets a logo, etc. Emma has been working with her massive writing team, crafting some incredible articles for our blog. Madeline is doing all the scheduling and posting for all of our social channels, doing a killer job on that, as well as facilitating the announcements channel in Slack. As I mentioned, Amel is facilitating the AMAs that we host. And lastly, our largest big project has been what has become the landfall of opportunity and tasks associated with facilitating this conference that we're all getting to attend now. So that's been a big priority over the last several months. Looking at the next 6 months, there are 2 primary objectives, likely subject to change, but the one that's not changing is we're going to look to launch the website 2.0, as well as we're working to craft a kind of cohesive strategy that effectively utilizes all the integrated teams and aligns them towards common goals. So those are the 2 main priorities for the next 6 months. Right now, we're looking to we're looking for all sorts of help. I'll let Madeline and Emma speak to their teams specifically, but I will say that if you're any kind of skilled graphic designer or illustrator, we could definitely use your help. So much of what's happening in our community is communicating really complex problems, and graphics and figures go a long way to help communicate that, as well as a lot of big lifts that need to happen around the website specifically. We're also interested in anybody that has experience as a front-end developer, that has worked with user experience and user interface designers in the past to kind of bring websites to life. So we're definitely looking for that. And other than that, if you're just generally a marketing inclined person that has cool ideas for what our community could be doing, we would love to help. So I know that the design team has a post up on the placement site, and if any of this other stuff you're interested in, feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm just at Bennett on Slack, at BENNETT, and that's where you can find me. All right, thanks everyone.
Thanks, Bennett. Next, we'll be hearing from Emma Bloomkey, who leads our writing team. Emma is joining us from Oxford, England. Emma?
Hey, I'm Emma. I'm a PhD student at the University of Oxford, and at OpenMined, I lead the writing team. The writing team is a group of almost 50 writers from all around the world with a variety of skill sets and interests. And today I'm here to talk to you about what we're working on, what we'd like to work on in the future, and how you can get involved. So, our writing team produces the material for our blog. That's at blog.openmind.org. You should go check it out after this, and I'm sure you'll find something that you like. We produce a huge variety of material. Some of it is purely writing, some of it is highly technical. For example, sometimes we are just announcing good news. We always have a lot of good news around the community, such as that OpenMined is officially listed as a digital public good by the UN now. And we always have partnerships that we have to announce. We always have fellowships, grants, and various community items that need to be written up and put on the blog. So if you like writing, that's a great place for you. So we also produce demonstrations of concepts or tricks that you can do relating to privacy. So for example, here's a demo of how to extract private data from a neural network. This is really, really useful for the community and really, really interesting material for everybody who follows us. We also write demonstrations of tools. So for example, these are code demonstrations like this one on how to use PySift, PyTorch, and Intel SGX. These are really useful to show people how to use our tools. We also write about use cases for privacy tools. So maybe you're a domain expert in genetics or another area of healthcare, or maybe climate change, or maybe in financial services. Well, you can write a blog about why privacy tech is interesting to you and where you see that it could be used. And you can also write commentary about privacy-related stuff that's in the news. So, for example, this article on some huge news in the natural language processing area. We also welcome blogs about tech ethics and data ethics. For example, this recent piece about surveillance capitalism and whether or not privacy technology is a solution for some of the problems posed there. I would just like to point out that this is an open call. If you are a humanities researcher, STS researcher, political scientist, social scientist, please join us. We welcome your skill set, and we'd love to have your perspective on our blog. Not all of our blogs contain code. Some are writing only. So if you are not a coder, don't worry. There's a huge range of skill set that is needed in privacy. We also conduct interviews, such as this one with Ronnie Falcon, our OpenMined feature contributor for June. If this inspires you, you're very welcome to expand on this and interview perhaps people in the privacy space that you find interesting. Find out what they're working on and perhaps ask them about their journey. We also provide teaching material. One of the main goals of OpenMined is lowering the barrier to entry to privacy-preserving tech, and a huge part of that is explaining all of this stuff. So one of our popular series is this Privacy Preserving Data Science Explained series, and that is really just a branch for answering all the questions that people come to us with, like what is federated learning, what is private set intersection, what is PyVertical, what are these libraries that we're working on. So if you have an area of expertise or you're a beginner who likes to write blogs to kind of wrap their head around a topic, let us know and join us and help us expand that series to cover everything that we would like to know. You might also find our material reposted on the PyTorch Medium sometimes. So that's especially when we collaborate with PyTorch and do really cool demos demonstrating our tools. Okay, so you can find out information about how to join on our writing team roadmap. You can actually find all of our projects on OpenMind's GitHub. All you have to do is go to OpenMind's GitHub and click on projects, and you'll see, for example, this is our privacy teaching series. This is what we still have to write. This is what we have already written, and this is what's in progress. So I really hope that you check out our good first issues. You maybe suggest new blog posts about what you guys would like to write. So I really am looking forward to seeing all the ideas that are sparked from this privacy conference. For all the details on how to apply, check out the roadmap.
Thank you, Emma. Up next, we have Madeline Mamulianu to tell us about the social media team. Madeline is joining us from Craiova, Romania. Madeline?
Hello everyone, my name is Madalin Mamuleanu. I'm from Romania and I'm leading the social media team at OpenMined. The social media team is formed by members of the OpenMined community passionate about content creation and building engagement by analyzing the impact of social media activity on the community initiatives. We are responsible for strategic development and execution of social media campaigns in order to increase engagement. Our main goal is to make sure we reach our target audience, research scientists, engineers, students, developers, or people interested in privacy in general when promoting OpenMined activities, achievements, or events on social media. For a better distribution and scheduling of our content, we've divided our social media channels into two main categories as you see in this slide. For external channels, we are using Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and our monthly newsletter. And for internal announcements, we are using Slack. We are promoting a large range of post types on social media, starting from partnership announcements to online events in the community, features added to a product, research results, meetups, to announcing monthly featured contributor or different types of blog posts like tutorials on different technologies. Also, we are using YouTube to schedule Ask Me Anything live events. since on every platform the same posts are performing different, we always trying to adapt our message across each channel in order to reach our target audience. We think that by keeping all of our social media channels updated with OpenMined achievements, we encourage other people to join us in different teams. Our team works to create engaging content for OpenMined social media presence, both external and internal, as defined earlier. We are working closely with development, research, design, and writing teams so we can always be up to date with everything that's happening in our community. Also, we analyze data to measure engagement for each platform in order to have a better view of which type of content works better so we can adapt and improve our message. Since our community is growing really fast, we need more people to join our team. If you are interested in writing engaging posts for our community channels, analyze data to see which posts are working better for which platforms, or even both, and you want to join the social media team, please reach out to me on Slack, on email. We'll be really pleased to have you. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to follow us on social media.
Thanks, Madeline. So that wraps up our community team's presentations. Next, we'll hear about OpenMined research from Kritika Prakash. Kritika is joining us from Bangalore, India. Kritika?
Hello everyone, my name is Kritika and I'm going to be talking about the research happening at OpenMined. First, I'll tell you about the problems that we aim to solve, continued by the specific research areas of focus. Then I will give you an example of some of the research projects that are happening, and finally I'll talk about the different ways you can get involved with research at OpenMined. Over the broad fields of science, medicine, governance, technology, and capitalism, we want to solve people-centric problems using data-centric methods such as artificial intelligence, encrypted computation, distributed systems, and remote execution, with the aim of adding value to the lives of these people. And this value can be seen in the form of data transparency, the security and privacy of the people, the fairness in the way the data is being used, and so on. So, broadly speaking, this is what we're interested to solve in. Corresponding to the problems that we want to solve, our first step is to focus on creating a secure and private way of using artificial intelligence on people's data to make a difference. The key research areas that we're currently working on, which will enable the creation of secure and private AI, are federated learning, a distributed way of performing machine learning, differential privacy, a mathematical guarantee on the user's privacy, cryptography, a smart and interesting way to establish secure communication, and verifiable identity. Within artificial intelligence, our focus is on machine learning, deep learning, and natural language processing. Keeping these key research areas in mind, I will now move on to some examples of the research projects that are happening at OpenMined. Here is a small subset of the research projects that are taking place at OpenMined. As you can see, these research projects have a broad scope and are highly interdisciplinary. Whether we look at achieving transfer learning or neural architecture search in a federated learning setup, or we look at more general projects such as automating differential privacy for deep learning or making recommendation systems privacy preserving, all of these projects have an impact on people's lives and their data. Now, I'm going to be talking about the different research roles that you can apply for at OpenMined. So, as you can see, the pictures of all the different researchers at OpenMined form a very diverse and interactive community who collaborate on lots of research projects together to create a wonderful research environment. There are two main roles which you can apply for. One is the role of a research scientist if you have prior research experience, and the other is the role of a research engineer if you have more of a development and less of a research experience. To be able to apply to both of these positions, check out placements.openmind.org. To get involved more generally with research at OpenMined, you can always join the research channel in the OpenMined Slack. We hope you apply and join the research community at OpenMined. Thank you.
Thank you, Kritika. Next, we're going to hear from some of our development teams, starting with Ben Simkoff to tell us about overall OpenMined development. Ben is joining us from Willetton, Western Australia. Go ahead, Ben.
G'day everybody, I hope you're having an absolutely amazing time, amazing virtual PriCon experience, and hopefully it's been so amazing that you've decided you want to come and join the community. My name is Ben Simko, the Development Area Lead here at OpenMined, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how you can actually get involved. I think that one of the very unique things about OpenMined, and I've been with the community now for almost 2 years, is that you can achieve the impossible. You think about the sort of people that are in our community. We have researchers working on new technologies, new techniques that are just never been seen before. Obviously, private AI is a very, very new field, and the mission that they're working towards is just so world-changing, game-changing, and privacy as an industry is obviously the biggest growth industry in the world, and it will be for the next few years. Not only that is we have these amazing engineers that can help make these research papers and techniques a reality, and we work with the biggest tech companies in the world as well as industry. We work with we work with a lot of healthcare, institutions, universities, etc. Why would you actually want to join? Like, what do you get out of joining OpenMined? So let's talk about the typical experience of an OpenMined contributor. When you first arrive, our technical communities, our Slack channels, very, very, very welcoming. In fact, most new members get a mentor assigned to them, which are going to help them navigate the community. So you can learn a bunch of new skills. We're a sharing and education-based culture. So if you want to learn about Rust, if you want to learn about mobile apps, if you want to learn about computer vision, cloak inference, or any amazing, brand new privacy-preserving technique, we have the people here that are very, very willing to not only invest time to help you learn these skills, but then to bring you on board, and so you can start actually working with them in the project teams to build the libraries that can make these techniques a reality for not just the OpenMined community, but the entire world. The whole point of what we do is to make sure the entire world can get access to all of these tools that we build, so that the world can become a more privacy-preserving place. One of the other challenges that we have as far as all of these brand new techniques that we put together is, whilst we have people building these enterprise-ready open source libraries that can be used by individuals, enterprises, government, etc., a lot of the things that we do, they come from either research papers or experimental techniques that we're trying out. So we do build a lot of proof of concepts. We do actually try things out. Some of it we throw on the scrap heap because we realize this technique didn't actually work. We have a validation team that can validate algorithms. To make sure that our libraries are doing what they're going to do. But really, we do have this really great deliberate experimentation mindset. We do want people to go out and innovate. And so that's what you can get involved with as well, is if you are someone who is really into trying some obscure new techniques, we've got so much for you to do here, and we've got the place and the support for you to be successful. If you think about OpenMined and our GitHub, is we do have 70 active repositories, or a little bit more than that. I know we had, 71 when I last checked. We have repositories that turn on and off, but that's they're repositories that in the last month have had at least one commit. Most of them have had many more. We have over 150 monthly contributors to those repositories. That's always growing, and it has been. So whilst we have, I think there's 500 plus contributors in the history of OpenMined, which is just over 3 years, we have about 150 per month now, which is pretty amazing. And our Slack community, we actually have 8,500, and I'm sure by the end of this convention it's probably going to be closer to 9,500. Maybe we'll hit the magical 10K, who knows. But we've got a very open, active Slack community with channels all over the place for all sorts of different interests, whether that's reading, ethics, privacy preserving, machine learning techniques, and whatever you're interested in, it's there. One thing I wanted to just touch on as well is, whilst I talked a little bit about some of the technical teams that you can get involved in, is we actually have these capability teams. And so we have, I guess, these techniques, approaches, all of these things that we're working towards fit nicely into one of these capabilities. Well, sometimes not so nicely, sometimes quite messily, and that is the fun of being in this open source community, is we can figure out how we can get these 6 key capabilities to play together. Each one of these capabilities, we have fantastic researchers, experts, we have industry folk. We really do have so much momentum in this space. And so if you want to come on board, doesn't matter whether you're a beginner or you're someone who's leading a startup that wants to implement what we do, we've got a place for you. Please do. And the technical communities that I was talking about, again, this is part of I guess, we're being a virtual organization. We very much live on Slack, and so if you want to get involved, Patrick Kaysen leads our engineering team, and he helps cultivate and works with these technical communities. And so if you just come on board, join these channels, they're all like topic_something, and you will actually then be immediately thrown into a group of people who are working actively towards sharing skills and learning in these different spaces. And it is the place, when you're involved in these communities, where we'll actually find you, and if there's appropriate projects, we'll actually either advertise the projects, or we'll actively try to recruit you from these areas to join our core project teams. So there's so much more. This is a very, very tiny little taste of what you could achieve if you join OpenMined. And so just check out placements.openmind.org or join our Slack, and I'm sure that there's links everywhere to join our Slack, so just do it. And placement.openmind.org is where you can go and actually apply to be on one of our teams. Thank you so much, and I'll hopefully see you on Slack.
Thanks, Ben. Next, we're going to hear about the SIFT core team from Madhava J, who is joining us from Brisbane, Australia. Madhava?
Crikey. G'day. Hello from sunny Brisbane, Australia, and welcome to PriCon2020. Now it's time for me to show you what I've been up to at OpenMined. Hi, and welcome to my talk on SIFT development at OpenMined. Who am I? My name's Madhava, and I'm from Brisbane, Australia. If you check my Slack profile, you'll see my current title is Human MyPy Linter. What is SIFT? SIFT is enabling the next generation of scientific discoveries by unlocking orders of magnitude of previously inaccessible data through the application of privacy-preserving machine learning. You can see on the right here a kind of example of what we're going for. Step 1, pip install SIFT. Step 2, execute your find cure algorithm. Step 3, collect your Nobel Prize in medicine. SIFT is a sort of Python bring your own code meta library that allows users to execute their existing deep learning or data science code for frameworks like PyTorch or NumPy on remote machines securely without ever seeing private data. What does that look like in practice? Well, instead of import torch, you can do torch equals alice_client.torch and get a kind of remote connection to torch running on Alice's machine. Every time you execute something, you will get a pointer which wraps around the return object. So you can see in the example here, we create a tensor, a two-dimensional tensor, and then we just transpose it with capital T. And inside the remote store, we can see both the original and the transposed tensor. Of course, in this example, we have a root client, which gives us the permission to call .get without actually requesting, but normally you would request permission. What are we working on at the moment? A reboot to SIFT, which is tagged as version 0.3. This provides support for Python deep learning and data science libraries, such as PyTorch, and it's going to expand to TensorFlow and NumPy very quickly. We're building the ability to automatically wrap and abstract arbitrary Python libraries into a sort of series of secure network pointers that can be used to invoke methods and functions remotely or with privacy-preserving algorithms baked in. And underneath that, a deeper set of core libraries that will allow your existing Python code to execute across a kind of graph of nodes on the cloud and on premises, thus creating a global network of data and compute that we hope will drive the next big scientific breakthrough. Version 0.3 is a bit of a reboot. We're focusing on code quality. We have MyPy types on every single line. There's formatting and linting, code documentation, test coverage, a compatibility matrix for different versions of Python and its client libraries. You can see on the right here, my tests are passing 100%, so that's super cool. And of course, Duet, which is our two-player RPC data science kind of mode. To achieve this, we need to build a sort of universal Python wrapping system Fortunately, Python provides us with a lot of dynamism and reflection tools, and so we're able to create this meta library, which can wrap nearly any other Python library with a secure RPC layer. As you may know, nearly all high-performance Python libraries have C and C++ under the hood, and this presents us with some unique challenges. On the right-hand side, you can see an example where we're dynamically generating classes using the Python type function. The goal is to allow anybody to come along and just use a PyTorch existing tutorial, such as MNIST, and they should be able to run that notebook on their machine, cell by cell, while having the code actually being executed on a remote machine with almost no changes to the code. What does the future of the development of SIFT look like? SIFT currently runs on a variety of platforms already, providing privacy-preserving machine learning on the cloud and on the edge on your mobile phones. We want to take this to every language and platform where private data needs protecting. But rather than maintaining dozens of code bases, we're looking to re-implement it in Rust. The core could then be a more thoroughly audited and tested code base, while we provide specific bindings that can give that first-class native end developer experience that people are looking for. Here's a sneak peek of what I've been working on. This is a Skunkworks project where I've taken a photo of my iPhone as it was executing the Rust core code bound in Swift inside the phone, communicating over the local area network on IP6 to a Jupyter notebook running Python, also running the same Rust core code, and it was just super fun to work on. OpenMind's always looking for talented and interested individuals to join our growing global remote first team. PRs are welcome and no contribution is too small. Remember, the journey to 1 million downloads begins with a single commit. Please join us on Slack and say hello. If you'd like more information on how to join, there are OpenMinders in your time zone who can help point you in the right direction. Thank you. Have a great PriCon2020. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Bye.
Thanks, Madhava. Next up, we have Patrick Kaysen out of Sesimbra, Portugal, to tell us about the federated learning teams. Patrick?
Hi, my name is Patrick Kaysen, and I lead the federated learning team here at OpenMined. I wanted to go ahead and give everyone kind of an introduction to what the federated learning team is, what we're trying to do right now, as well as what we're going for in the future. So there's kind of two approaches that we take to federated learning. These are slightly different than some industry standard terms that you might have heard, like cross-silo or cross-device or vertical federated learning, but they're quite similar. Model-centric is generally focused on edge devices, so where data may be deployed at a mobile phone or a web browser or something like that. While data-centric, on the other hand, is more close to a traditional data science workflow, whereby data scientists would inherently work with remote data. So we've actually built a bunch of libraries specifically for the purposes of model-centric. We've built SIFT.js for web browsers, Kotlin Sift for Android devices, and SwiftSift for iOS devices. All of these libraries have a lot in common. They can both perform both training and inference. The training data actually never leaves the device in the way that model-centric is organized. So training happens entirely on the device, and then a diff is basically sent back up to the cloud to be averaged. We have full support for Jewett authentication. We have network speed testing, and we also have support for either HTTP or WebSockets, depending on how you want to run your protocol. Mobile only specifically, we have support for battery charge detection, Wi-Fi and metered network detection, sleep and wake cycle detection, training in the foreground and in the background, and support for multi-threading on both iOS and Android. There's a lot more to be done at the moment that I'm doing this presentation. We are currently working on redoing our training API to support a variety of different future use cases, including the ability to do things like PubSub, as well as to have the workers drive the process specifically. So talking about the future, we're also going to add support for secure multi-party computation and secret aggregation protocols. That'll be done through WebRTC. And then we'll also add support for a JavaScript version of PyTorch, should one become available. Currently, there is no such thing. We actually have to translate any PyTorch commands using a library we also created called 3PO to TensorFlow.js. So at some point, we'd love to have more native support for the web. We'd love to add more commands to 3PO, our command translation library that makes all this possible. and then also allow for the ability to arbitrarily execute plans regardless of the cycle. So the way federated learning currently works is that you've actually got to have devices apply to a cycle. They're either accepted or denied, and the ones that are accepted basically have a certain amount of time to submit training back for aggregation at the end. It's our hope that we will also be able to support just arbitrary execution of plans whenever the device wants. And like I mentioned earlier, support for PubSub. Speaking a little bit to data-centric, so this is a little different in the sense that data will actually now be hosted in the cloud. That's the difference. In model-centric, you have your grid, which will be essentially hosting a model to train. And in data-centric, which is more close to cross-silo or vertical federated learning, you would actually have data being hosted in the cloud. So some data owner would run their own PyGrid node, and then data scientists can basically make requests against it. Our main core infrastructure is written in the node itself, which is kind of like your main central area. Data scientists would be able to provision environments on this node, and it would essentially create all the hardware specifications that they require, and then be able to train on those remote workers. If you add a network to the situation, this allows the data scientists to actually search multiple nodes simultaneously for a data set. So if you're in the process of discovery or exploring a bunch of different data sets and you don't have one in particular that you'd like to settle down with, then a network is a great way to explore data and see what's around you. So roughly how this would work is you start by searching for a data set that you'd like to work with. You can create a training plan or a set of operations to execute. You would send those instructions to a PyGrid node, and then basically a worker on that node would be created for you where the actual execution would be done. At this point, if the PyGrid owner decides to approve or deny the training of this model according to how it affects the privacy budget, so yes, we support differential privacy, and then lastly, they would release the trained model or inference result back to the data scientist. So going forward in the future, we'll want to add further support for differential privacy budgeting, the ability to both train and inference requests, deployment to all major cloud providers, starting with Amazon, Google, and Azure, and also support for serverless and server full deployment. There's one other thing, though, that I want to close on, and it's that we're building a user interface, and we could use a lot of really talented designers and JavaScript developers who are also available and interested to basically help us build a user interface that will manage both the model-centric and the data-centric processes together. So if you're looking to get started, you can send me a message on Slack, my handle as Serial Larceny with a C, or you could join us on our variety of Slack channels. You can also apply to join our team at placements.openmind.org. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patrick. Moving on, now we'll hear about our cryptography team from Théo Raffel. Théo is joining us from Paris, France. Go ahead, Théo.
Hi, I'm Théo Raffel, and I'm leading the cryptography team. The cryptography team mission is to provide efficient, privacy-preserving algorithms for machine learning users to protect both data owners and model owners. Concretely, we design, implement, and integrate cryptography protocols that allow you to compute over encrypted data in order to perform encrypted inference or training machine learning models. Since the field of privacy-preserving machine learning is a very active area of research, our main challenge is to keep up to date with the most advanced and recent research in this domain, and to make sure that we provide the most efficient protocols to passive users. We currently have 4 main areas of research. We work on homomorphic encryption, secure multi-party computation, functional encryption, and private set intercession. Among our most exciting projects, we have wrapped the Microsoft C library to provide a tensor abstraction over an efficient homomorphic encryption protocol. This is a tensor library. We have also partnered with Facebook to integrate the Cryptin library to provide an efficient backend for secure multi-party computation in PySwift. We have developed several cryptography protocols, including function sequestering, and worked with several researchers to continuously improve these protocols. As of now, we can already train and use in a fully encrypted way machine learning models. For example, we have released last week a tutorial to use ResNet 18 to perform secure inference over encrypted data. And we have many other nice demos that you can run on your laptop with basic knowledge of PyTorch. What are we currently working on? We're implementing new protocols from scratch, including BFV, that's a homomorphic encryption protocol, Falcon, that's an SMPC one, and many others. We are currently looking for Rust developers to help us improve the efficiency of some crypto protocols that are actually written in Python, and we are working for having CUDA support to have like great speedups. You can find our complete roadmap online in the OpenMined repo named Roadmap. Who are we? We are students, we are engineers, startups, researchers from around the world with different experiences and different backgrounds. Some of us are like discovering cryptography, some are more experienced in cryptography, but we work and learn together, so there's a seat for everyone. Why should you join? You should join if you want to play a role in bringing privacy-enhancing techniques to the greatest number, if you want every data scientist to be able to protect the personal data they use in a single line of code, or if you want to see people that don't trust each other starting to cooperate together in a positive way. If you're interested, please get in touch, check out our placement. Thank you.
Thank you, Teo. Next up, we'll hear from Alan Aboudib out of Montreal, France. Alan will be telling us about the natural language processing team. Go ahead, Alan.
So hello, everyone. My name is Alan Aboudib. I'm the NLP team lead at OpenMined. And I'm going to present and give you an overview of ciphertext, which is the NLP library we are developing at the NLP team at OpenMined. And to be more precise, I will be talking about the new release we are going to make available in PriCon conference in a few days. So ciphertext, let me begin. So what is ciphertext actually? So ciphertext is an open source library written in Python, and it leverages PySift, the flagship library developed by OpenMined, to provide capability for privacy-preserving natural language processing NLP. So I'm not developing this alone, of course. I'm developing this with a great team that whose members are just in front of you, and also some contributors coming from all around the world. So what's the problem actually? What we are trying to solve? So in this release, actually, we are providing the NLP, privacy-preserving NLP capability, but also we are providing the possibility to use PyGrid to host all the pipelines and the models you will be able to create. So there are, maybe we can distinguish 4 steps, and these are the 4, let's say, main capabilities you should be able to do with the new release. So the first thing you will be able to do is to create a local pipeline. It means when you work with NLP, you can define, for instance, tokenizer and some elements for pre-processing, which is like tagging words and excluding some words. And also, most importantly, you should also be able to create a deep learning model to do like classification task, for instance, sentiment analysis, for instance. So in the privacy preserving settings, or when we have privacy constraints, say, once you create this pipeline locally using the library, the strings you are going to process are often situated on other workers, on other machines. Here, these are the strings. So ciphertext should all actually analyze this pipeline, and the parts that should do the pre-processing should be separated and sent to that remote worker, and training with the model, the last pipe component, should happen on your machine when you are trying to train your model. And actually, in a private, in the setting where strings are private, the data sets are private, you cannot see the data. So that's why ciphertext also handles sending these pre-processing components to act alone and like remotely and blindly on that data and encrypt them and send it to you to be able, as a data scientist, to train on this data. And a very important capability is to be able to deploy this pipeline to PyGrid So here I show you just an example, and also to be able to use a deployed model. So ciphertext will also handle how once the model is deployed on the company and you want to use it, it will pull the pre-processing components to treat your string and like encrypt the embeddings, send it to the trained model, and securely getting the result back. So these are the main capabilities that we are working on. You will be able to see in the conference and in our demo in the conference. And if you want to help, actually, you can contribute in building ciphertext with us, so working on what I just explained and refining the process, and helping with future releases where we will support training these pipelines remotely, not only using them for inference when they deploy, also training them, and also coming up with use cases and paper implementations that we will, of course, welcome, and real use cases that might be good ideas to use in industry. So if you want to contribute, just go to the repo on GitHub, ciphertext, and read the README to see how things work and how you can contribute to us, or the lib_ciphertext on Slack to ask us questions, or placements.openmind.org to apply for our team. Thank you very much for listening, and see you in the conference.
Thanks, Alan. Next up is Will Abramson out of Edinburgh, Scotland, to tell us about the identity team. Will?
Welcome to the identity team introduction. Briefly, here's a few members of our team. Reach out to us on Slack or at the conference. We'd be happy to answer any of your questions. And I also want to emphasize, you are welcome. Like, if this interests you, give us a message, reach out. We'll find a way to fit you in for sure. So why is this stuff important? I mean, this has been important, ever since almost the creation of the digital space, really. And it's this iteration on, how do we interact online? How do we have assurance over the entities that we interact with? And, there's been different approaches to this. The current one that we're iterating on is this ability, this mental model that I should be able to have the same capabilities to interact with the service provider as they have to interact with me. We can interact as peers over this digital network. I do want to emphasize this point, this is touching human systems. It's not just a digital system, so it's really important, particularly as the lines blur between the physical and the virtual world, that we get this right. So this is, just a really brief introduction to self-sovereign identity. It's this idea that the issuer can sign credentials, pass them to the holder. The holder then can prove attributes were signed by this issuer to a verifier, without there being correlation between the credential and the presentation of that credential. It's based on, at least some versions are based on anonymous credential cryptography, which is really the maths and the cryptographic proofs that make sure this is all private. I definitely recommend you checking this out. I'll drop a link to this mural space and you can come in and see it. So how does this fit into OpenMined? So highly recommend reading this paper that kind of kickstarted all this work. Me, Adam, and a few others wrote this back in May, or it was a while ago now. And it's really just looking at, okay, how do we use this self-sovereign identity systems to create this distributed trust framework within privacy-preserving machine learning flows? But I also want to emphasize, these are just ideas. This is a set of tools. We want you to come up with, within your flows, where does it fit? Like, come help us figure that out. We're still in that sort of learning space, right? We don't have the solution. We have some tools and we want to see where they fit in. I think healthcare is, a great sort of use case, a great context where you need identification and authentication. You can't just have anyone doing privacy-preserving machine learning on sensitive healthcare data. So quickly, I'm trying to be fast. I keep going over the time. Key objectives, we want to create excellent developer resources. We want to get you up to speed with the latest digital identity systems, the tools, so you can start integrating them into your flows. I think we've done a great job with this, as you'll see later. We've got some tutorials created. Hopefully we can get you up to speed so you can use this stuff today. We also I'm really interested in cross-pollinating the ideas from the identity community, the OpenMined community with the identity space. Right, OpenMind's got this massive following, a great community. It's awesome. I would love to see a bit more cross-pollination between some of the folks that I know in the identity space. Let's bring them in. Let's try to get some privacy preserving machine learning folks talking to the identity people. I think there's a lot of unexplored potential there. Securing authenticated privacy preserving machine learning flows is kind of the thing that got us into this in the first place. How do we integrate this stuff into something like SIFT so you get a really nice interface for just adding it in without really knowing what's going on under the hood is cool. And then finally, I want to emphasize this point, which is, for me, I just knocked this up today, but I think anyone designing digital systems needs to be championing the design of these systems that respect human dignity, encourage self-organization, and limit the capacity for top-down control. So that's a key objective I wanted to chuck in there. And I would just say, these are just put together today and open for debate. I welcome that feedback. Definitely get in touch. So what have we done so far? I mean, really, this is our playground, the OpenMined PyIdentity repo. It can be your playground too. There's the tutorials in there. There's 2 really great ones that we've put together, and I think they should take you from I don't know anything to, hey, I can actually build something and push it out into the real world. And then we have like a couple of projects that we're incubating, which potentially we can show you at this conference. We're not sure. Let's see how it goes. Finally, a couple of some research questions. If you have some more research questions, I invite you to add them here. Like, these are just some that I thought of. This is an evolving space. We need to be aware of that. We need to be open to change and keep thinking, basically. Yeah, so I think that is all. Hopefully I've not gone over time. There's some tutorials. I definitely, if you're going to do one thing from this, go and take our tutorials. It shouldn't take long, an hour, 2 hours, and you'll have a good idea at least what we're talking about. And then, I really recommend for people interested in what the future of this stuff looks like, read this report. It's excellent. Yes, so let's call it there. I just want to emphasize, I'm going to share this link to this mural space. There's a few other bits and pieces in here that hopefully will come together nicer, but I'd encourage people to put their feedback in here. You can just double click, you add a post-it note, put some content, and then potentially down here, like, watch this space. I'd like to just run a little experiment down here. It's part of my research and something that I've been interested in for a while, so let's see how it goes. Thanks.
Thanks, Will. Also out of Edinburgh, Scotland, our next presenter is Adam Hall, who leads the InfoSec team. Go ahead, Adam.
Today I'm just going to give a quick introduction to our team and what it does. So, when privacy-preserved machine learning comes into the mainstream, the effects are going to be felt in every sector of the data industry. We're here to help the AI community brace for impact by exploring the areas around trust and governance systems relating to privacy-preserving machine learning. Specifically, we'll be following these 3 categories: defensive capabilities, offensive capabilities, and governance. First, we'll be looking at host-based security tools like tripwires and logging and effective access control, but also looking at some guidance around how to create sanitized systems. Next, we'll look at some network-based security tools which we can use to protect the networks which we run privacy-preserving infrastructure on, such as firewalls, intrusion detection prevention systems, honeypots, and security incident event management platforms. Finally, we'll look at privacy-preserving machine learning workflow security and establish the synergies between tools implementing privacy-preserving machine learning workflows. The categories we'll be looking at are cryptography, differential privacy, distribution of information resources, and verifiable objects. So the second of these pillars is offensive capabilities. This will be looking into possible attacks on privacy-preserving machine learning workflows with respect to the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of these information resources. This exploration and documentation will in turn inform active testing of OpenMind's infrastructure. We'll be specifically looking at the areas of OpenMind's infrastructure vulnerability assessment, on-site application auditing and verification, creation of OpenMind architectures for pen testing exercises, and the design of scenarios which we can use to test these. Privacy-preserving machine learning specific governance models are necessary to bridge the gap between what's possible and what's legislatively justifiable. Businesses need to know why privacy-preserving machine learning is important, why it's going to save them resources in information security management, and most importantly, how they can justify it to their auditor. We'll explore privacy-preserving machine learning and InfoSec governance from the following perspectives: incident response, design ethics, legislation concerning privacy-preserving machine learning like GDPR and HIPAA, risk management in privacy-preserving machine learning, information security standards like ISO 27000 and NIST, and the synthesis of these in the context of privacy-preserving machine learning. So if you're interested in any of these problems, then join the Slack and reach out. Cheers.
Thanks, Adam. Our final development team presentation will be from Patrick Hunter out of Richmond, Victoria, Australia, to tell us about the validation team. Take it away, Patrick.
Hello, I'm Patrick Hunter. I'm the validation team lead here at OpenMined. The validation team is a bit unique to OpenMined. We sit between security and quality control in the gap, or arguably overlap, between the two. OpenMined has an unusually large amount of projects that give specific formal guarantees around security and/or privacy. So the validation team's role is to check that those guarantees hold in practice. That's a bit abstract, so I think it's worth going over our current main project as an example. PyStatDP is a Python program for statistical counterexample generation for differential privacy. What that means in practice is that we take differentially private functions written in Python and try to generate example inputs that cause them to break their differentially private guarantees. And the way we do this is by algorithmically generating a huge number of examples and running each one a large number of times, then trying to reverse engineer the input from the output and seeing if we're able to do so to a greater extent than is allowed by the privacy guarantee of the function. And if we do generate a counterexample, then we can pass that on to the dev team for fixing. And if we don't, then we say that the function has passed validation. While there are some caveats that are a bit outside the scope of this talk, we have set the number and type of inputs that we generate to be large enough that if a function passes, it is statistically very likely to actually be differentially private. In the near term, we are looking at making some quality of life improvements to PyStatDP and then rolling it into the continuous integration pipeline for PyDP, which is our Python-based differential privacy project. In the slightly longer term, we are looking at expanding languages, expanding what sort of things we validate, such as privacy of private set intersection, and possibly rolling in some formal verification methods, though that's basically if any of you happen to already be really familiar with those and want to volunteer, we think it sounds cool, but it's not a priority. That does bring me on to the next point, which is we are heavily recruiting for more team members. Our requirements are pretty open. If you happen to have directly relevant experience in security or quality control, that's great, but we have room for both general programmers to help us with the implementation of stuff and general mathematical researchers who are willing to read through a bunch of academic papers like the one we used as the basis for PyStatDP and report back on ones that are worth integrating into our projects. If that sounds interesting to you, you can reach me on the OpenMined Slack. My username is Patrick Hunter, and I check it about once a day. Or you can also take a look at the PyStatDP GitHub repo. It's under OpenMined/PyStatDP, so pretty easy to find. Thank you, and have a nice conference.
Thanks so much, Patrick. And thank you to all of our team leads who presented today and to all of you guys watching. I hope this gives you a really good insight into all of the different ways you can fit into the world of privacy-preserving tech and into OpenMined. Once again, my name is Amber Trask, and I'm here to help if you need anything. Please feel free to message me on Slack or shoot me an email anytime. Next on the conference agenda is our networking hour, so head on over to our conference gather space at gather.openmind.org, and several of our team leads will be hanging out ready to answer any of your questions. Have a great PriCon 2020, and I'll chat with you soon. Thanks!